I'm the Climate Youth Delegate for Ireland at this year's COP, and I'm here with the fantastic Mary Robinson, former President of Ireland. Thank you so much for joining us. The first question is really, obviously this has been called the Finance COP. There's a lot of focus on the new Collective Quantified Goal for finance, and I'd be really interested in what you see as kind of the guiding principles that we need to determine this outcome.
I think it's really important that we get the framework agreed here, that we are talking about the kind of money that will help developing countries to move rapidly into clean energy. So we are talking language of the trillion plus, and that I think needs to be part of the outcome of the new collective quantified goal. And we need that urgently for trust in the whole system, leading on to COP30 next year in Belém.
Last year, we saw a lot of youth and civil society calling for an equitable fossil fuel phase out, and we saw fossil fuels mentioned for the very first time in a COP text. From your perspective, how do we end the fossil fuel era, and how do we get stronger commitments around phasing out fossil fuels in the COP space?
I think it was important that we got that language last year, transitioning from fossil fuel. It's interesting that Saudi Arabia in particular has been blocking it whenever it can, all over the place. In other words, that language matters. And the fact that it took COP29 to get language of doing what we absolutely should do, shouldn't be transitioning from it, should be phasing out. This is really important because that's the world that we have to be aware of. Oil and gas has gone up in the last year by about 0.8%. It should be reducing dramatically, as you know, by 43% by 2030 globally, and by more than that by EU and other countries. And Ireland isn't on course either to achieve our goal.
Shifting towards another topic, a lot of climate youth activists have been drawing the link between the climate crisis and violations of human rights and international law, particularly in situations of conflict like in Gaza and in Palestine more generally at the moment. How do we galvanise the international community to resolve conflict, to protect human rights, and particularly at this moment to protect the rights of the Palestinian people?
It's a really important question, and one that the elders work very hard on, as you probably know. The new chair is Juan Manuel Santos, the former president of Colombia, who got the Nobel Peace Prize for his work on peace with the FARC. And I hope he might even accelerate what we've been trying to do on Gaza. Is, somebody with a good track record on trying to bring about, the end of violence. And we need that both in relation to Gaza and now Lebanon, but also Ukraine. So we need to keep both in our thoughts. It's all about belief in the multilateral system, and it's under quite a lot of threat at the moment, particularly with the elections now in the United States and Trump returning to the presidency. That will, be a rather unpredictable element in the multilateral world over the next while. So we need to work hard to achieve more peace and more self-determination for the Palestinian people.
So what's your core message to young people who might be on the ground here at COP or watching back home as the conference comes to a close, and as we kind of try and turn these commitments into action, particularly those who might feel disheartened by the process?
I think it's really important that young people have faith in the system. It's a messy system. It will, I hope, achieve enough for us to move to the next stage. We often talk about two-stage COPs, COP29 here and then COP30 in Brazil, in Belém. There has been a real change in the way countries are talking about getting adequate money for developing countries. I mean, I see that change. We're talking now about different forms of taxation in a way that we weren't before. The World Bank and other multilateral banks did increase to 120 billion what they would have available. That's significant. It's not enough. We can push them further, but all of this is the kind of steps you can get from the multilateral process. I think what young people are seeing and what the elders are seeing is it's not fast enough, it's not enough at all, so we must renew our efforts. But I really want young people to take a message from Archbishop Tutu. I remember when I was on a panel with him, and he was accused of being an optimist. He said, "Oh no, I'm not an optimist, I'm a prisoner of hope." And that's very important. And when you're a prisoner of hope, even if the glass isn't half full or there's just only a little in it, you work with that, you form alliances, you grow it, and that's what we all have to do. And I say that particularly because I sense that young people are getting close to thinking, what is happening in our world? And I can understand that. But actually, we are making slow progress where we should be making transformational progress. So let's work at that.
Thank you so much. Really intrigued. Thank you. That's fantastic. Thank you.
And enjoy the conference.